conspiracies. So
Yeah, me too. Well, welcome to another gorgeous day on planet Earth and another day of dose of Did You Know? We're inspiring. I always like tongue twist my own like verbiage. An issue. Inspiring, unique, intriguing individuals get to share a little bit about who they are and how they got to where they are. And with me, all the way across the world. I don't know if it's officially across the world. Um, that's not my strong point either. But Ryan, how are you today?
I am doing great.
So Ryan's actually, I can say where you are, right? Like
Yeah.
Ryan is coming from to us from Afghanistan. So this is really cool for me because I've never had this. And I bet you Dawn is the stud that you were talking about, right? Is she the badass,
What?
Ryan?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's Dawn.
yeah. She just popped in because I get to see all the comments that come in. You don't. I get to see them all, and she is there. So, uh, Dawn, he was totally giving you his heart a little bit ago. So awesome lady there. Okay, but I regress. Sidetrack here. Tell the world a little bit about who Ryan is.
All right, a little bit about Ryan. Well, I basically have lived all over, but I claim a small little town outside of Eugene, Oregon, Lowell, Oregon. That's my hometown. I basically, when I graduated high school, my dad told me, "Hey, you can go to college, but let's face it, we both know you're not college material." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right." Or you can go get a job, but I highly recommend you join the military, serve your country, everything that patriotic dads say. So I joined the Navy right out of high school, and saw the world, did everything he said. Got out of the Navy, figured out I don't play well with others in the civilian world. I don't know, very weird. And so I joined the military again, but this time I went to the Air Force, and so I was in the Air Force for about 5 years, and then I just decided, yeah, I really need to do something else, a little bit more. I don't know, like people shoot at me and I run towards them, fun stuff like that. So I joined the Army, went Special Forces, and yeah, graduated, became a Green Beret, and went to Afghanistan. And people shot at me, and we ran at them. Very, very
Yep,
smart.
yep. And rinse and repeat because he's still here. But very cool. You also wrote a book, Tip of the Spear.
Yes.
I am in the
Mm-hmm.
middle of chapter 13. It is addicting. I'm telling you, my friend Heather Clark, I saw that. She was like, I couldn't put it down. I have it on Audible. And every time I don't have to concentrate, it is on. Like I think this is my 2 cents about the book. First of all, it's funny as hell. So I voice messaged you with my first like belly laugh in a book, which is very rare for me to get, but for people out there, it has something to do with nakedness. After he's been blown up in the hospital. That's all I'm gonna say. You got to figure that part out on your own. And then my second belly laugh was in the plane. That's all I'm gonna say too. Like you might not even so anyways, it's a very humorous book, but at the same time, you get to know exactly. You want to know what it's like to be a Green Beret. You want to know what it's like possibly to get blown up by an IED. You want to know what it's like to go through the pain and suffering of that rehab, mental and physical. This is it. Anybody who wants to know anything actually factual needs to read this book. Like, hands down, I want like 20 copies so I can give it out. And that is very hard for me to say. So that's my whole soapbox on your book that I wanted to get out there. I've been waiting since the day I started reading and got into it to be able to tell you that in person.
That's awesome. Yeah,
But what made you like write this book? Because it's not
well,
like, yeah, it's funny, but it's deep, and it must have been painful to write.
so I actually want to put a disclaimer out there first. When we were talking about if anybody wants to know what it's like to step on an IED or whatnot, I would highly recommend read the book. Don't go step on an IED. It's not worth it. You can get everything you want out of the book. If you're thinking about stepping on an IED, just let me know. I'll send you a book for free, please. So not worth it. Anyways, okay.
Perfect disclaimer.
All right. So what made me want to write the book? So it didn't start off as a book. I had some struggles because, well, I know you may not believe this, but I'm a human being, and I had some. I'd had some, I battled same thing that everybody in life goes through. I've had my ups and my downs, and so I tried counseling, and I just felt like I was a number to them. And so our 7th group chaplain, I actually started talking to him, and you got to understand. So I was deployed in Afghanistan in 2010. I got blown up. Then I went back in 12. Well, then I went back 16, 17, 18, 19, and I'm here again in 20. So in 17, I was still trying to figure out, like, it started to set in a lot of these anger issues and other problems that I had. And so I started talking to our chaplain, and over the time that we had been talking, the overwhelming, I guess, agreement we had was every time we talk, or you talk to a friend, or you guys go out and grab beers and talk about it, it's dead air. Once it's gone, it's gone. You go back to your home, they go back to theirs, and the issues are still there. And he said, well, have you ever tried writing? I was like, well, I mean, I majored in writing in the 3rd grade. So, let me dust off some skills here. I got some talent. And so needless to say, I didn't really think about it. Yeah. Well, 2017 trip rolled around, and I remember one night I was having, just some issues, being a human being, and I opened up my my laptop and I just started typing. I'm telling you, like, fastest 2-finger typer ever, I promise. But I just started typing, and one page turned to 2 to 3 to 100 to 200 to 300. And I just kept pouring everything out, and it felt so good. It's weird because I'm a meathead knuckle dragger, and I was able to just completely put everything on paper, well, on keyboard, and then and it went from everything from being a child, and it just started pouring out, and it felt, like I said, it felt good. So take that. And, I'm sitting here with 500-600 pages of stuff, and I'm like, well, what do I do now? Do I throw it away? Do I delete it? Do I hold on to it for a rainy day, or let somebody else see it? And so I have had some trusted friends, Tyler Geek and Frankie Hernandez, and they took a look at it, and they're like, bro, I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, there's a lot of people that can benefit from this. And so long story short, I got ran through the ringer a few times by some scam artists online that were like, hey, we do book stuff.
Yeah.
And when my buddy was, he was like, have you ever Googled military authors and just contacted them? Like, no. Does that work? And he's like, just give it a shot. So I did. I sent out a bunch of emails. And this lady named Lynn Vincent, she's the author of Dog Company and the USS Indianapolis. She got back to me, and we got to talking a little bit, and she did her research on me, and she's like, oh, okay, yeah, you are who you say you are. And she said, I'll tell you what, I don't have time to look at it, but I got a person who does. And that's when she got me in contact with a guy named Mike Yorkie, who was my editor. And I sent it to Mike, and within a couple of days, he got back to me. He's like, hey, man, this can reach some people. You have something here. And Mike's background is University of Oregon grad, did the Focus on the Family, the Christian TV show back in the day, and stuff like that. And so he got, and then again, he got me in touch with somebody that could help spread the word about it, and that was Greg Johnson, another University of Oregon graduate. And then next thing you know, I got picked up by Center Street, and now you see a picture of a guy climbing upstairs looking like a jackass, and it's in bookstores. It's great.
It's voila. There we go. But you were right. You poured out everything into that. Yeah, it's funny, and people listening to you can hear how funny you are. Like, on a side note, when I was telling him, when you enter the broadcast room, put a name you want the world to see, because I could picture you putting some, like, God even knows what name would show up under you if I didn't warn you. But in that book, there are times like I'm crying. So I'm belly laughing. And at the same time, I'm crying. And then as a mother, so I'm the mother of the Marine, but just as a mother in general, and maybe a female, it's like that, oh my gosh. Like, I get chills just because I know what's in the book, thinking about those storylines. And you're raw about it. You're raw about what you put the nurses through when you were having nightmares and afterwards. You were very vulnerable about that. Was there something where, how you would talk about it with your friends, and then there was never any release from your pain when you would just talk about it. But was there something when you wrote it down that it like released it from your brain somehow, because you know that you can't take it back, like it's on paper? Was it, can you explain that?
Yeah. The permanent aspect of it on paper is, I think, what helps you release it, because it's out there now, at least for me. Mm-hmm. It did. And that's what's so great about the book, is the fact that, I mean, you're looking at the bottom of the barrel, high school educated kid here. And so there is no education thrown into that book. It's just straight emotion. And I did that not really thinking it was going to ever do anything, but my goal and what gave me the courage to actually want to go through with releasing it, one of my buddies, Dan Castro, told me, he said, if this story even reaches one person that maybe was at the end of their line, or maybe they just didn't see a way out, and this story reached them, and it gave them hope, it gave them a light, it gave them something, something to hold on to as those floodwaters are sweeping you away, then it's a success. And I got an email from someone who, I'm not going to go too much into detail, but that rope was, they were holding on by 2 fingers. And they don't know how the book showed up in their, I guess, algorithms or whatever. I don't know what that crap is, but it just somehow it showed up. And so they got it on Kindle, and they just sent me a note that said, hey, I want to let you know you saved my life. I was like, oh, well, book's worth it.
Yep. There you go. All done. And that's powerful. That's powerful to be like, me, my story, my 3rd grade writing experience, as you put it, like,
really big deal, by the way.
Made that much of a difference. And you know what I was thinking? Again, like, I can't wait. I got to finish my last 4 chapters or 5 chapters, whatever's left. Is that I was even thinking, all of those people that are like, the military sucks, they're not doing anything, they're just like, that are just have no recollection of what you guys actually do and how you think and why you're there. They need to read that book. That needs to show up in their algorithms, because then I think you'll get a whole new perspective of things.
Yeah. One of the unintentional, I guess, side effects of the book that I didn't realize that I have heard quite a bit is the fact that, wow, you guys are human too. It's like, excuse me? And that's the thing, is Navy SEALs, Green Berets, Marine Recon, whatever, you name it. There's this movie Hollywood image about it, but they don't see the struggles. They don't see the mistakes, the fear, the wow, I'm heading into a compound. I know there's IEDs, and I'm scared. Like,
Yeah.
I'm scared.
Yeah.
and
You
it and
talk about that. You talk about the self-talk that is going through your mind when you're doing that. And when you went back into your first deployment after coming back, that's what was so, I feel, is so powerful about it. It's just your raw and real emotion of what you're thinking as you're going through those grapevines.
oh, the grape rows are horrible, horrible.
I didn't
Oh my
even know there
gosh.
were grapevine rows in Afghanistan.
Oh, they're big. Panjwai area and whatnot like that. Grape is that's their product. And those grape rows are, I mean, just imagine being in a maze. And in the summertime, with all that foliage all around you, it's humid. You can barely breathe, but there's IEDs. And where there's not IEDs, you don't know if there's an AK around the next bend or whatnot to send that burst of 7.62, your way. And my job, I mean, I'm up in the front with a mine detector. So I would like to see the guy that said that you're not scared. I honestly believe fear keeps you focused.
Mm-hmm.
I also have a weird mindset that kept me going. A lot of people say, well, you barely survived the first IED. Why'd you keep going back? It's like, well, I do have a belief that there's two things in life that you don't control. You don't control life, and you don't control death. That's all up to God. In between there, yeah, it's choose your own adventure. But when you live, when you're going to be born has been known, and when you die has been known. So the fear of death, yeah, I mean, we're humans, and I don't want to get shot in the face. I'm pretty sure that wouldn't be good, but it could fix my teeth a little bit. I don't know, but I but yeah, I mean, I really, as the fear would start to creep in, I would really, as weird as it sounds, just focus on that aspect in my religious beliefs, is that I can't control this. It doesn't matter where I am in the world. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And so, yeah, push off and let's find some IEDs.
Yeah. You know what? There's a couple things. One, it shows um, the depth of your belief system. And two, I believe that we're given these gifts: fear, anger, love, all of these different emotions we're given, and they're gifts to us. What screws us up is when we think that is us. If we're, and we put labels on them from society instead of being like, no, fear is awesome. That does not make me a pussy. That is making me strategic and more like, you talk about it, more like focused in. It heightens
Yeah.
your awareness. That's my
Mm-hmm.
opinion.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm glad you kind of brought that up, because that goes into another reason why people had asked me, why did you go back? And so when we're talking about fear and taking that step, another reason why I also wanted to write the book is because there's something I feel that's going on in America today that is completely controllable, but we're allowing ourselves to become victims. And so the story, not really the story, but you read it, but it kind of goes like this. When I was having some dark times in the hospital, and my dad had told me, like, I was handed an opportunity that most men will never get in their life. You'll never get the chance to sustain that kind of injury, live from it. And so now what you choose to do with your life, you have two choices. You can become your injury. You can make that injury who you are. I am Ryan Hendrickson. I was blown up by an IED, and I will ever be known as just that guy that was blown up. I am now a victim to the injury, to life's shitty circumstances. And that's and no one's going to blame you for that. They're not going to. Or you can take this setback, you can take this speed bump in life, and you can use it to make yourself a stronger man. You can use it to make yourself a better person. You can use it to strengthen your relationship or renew your relationship with God. You can use this to benefit yourself, but by benefiting yourself, you're benefiting the people that you're going to come in contact with to make them better people. But he warned me, if you choose to become a victim of this injury, if you choose to live a life of victimization, it's a very dark and lonely path, and you will push people away until eventually it will take you. And there's nothing you can do about it. He said, I highly recommend you get control of yourself and you start to see the benefit of what happened to you. It sucks right now and it's dark, but I promise you, this will all be worth it if you use this to make yourself a better person. And I believe in that. And I believe that a lot of people today, that they're using excuses to hold themselves back. Victimization is a self-choice. You don't have to be a victim. Life sucks sometimes, and there's some crappy hands that are dealt. And I know 100 million different people that could come onto this show and be like, well, he doesn't know about this, and this, but it still is a choice to be a victim of your circumstances. And you don't have to. That's what's great about it, is you don't have to be a victim of it. You can own it. And I think that was one of the biggest, I guess once I actually, because I'm a little slow, I guess you would say. And so once I actually was able to comprehend kind of what would, through my friends, and just constantly telling me, it really made sense to me that without even knowing I did it, I wrote a book about not becoming a victim, controlling your own life. And it started from childhood, living in a tent, all the way, it's just, you don't have to be a victim. You don't. Take control.
Yeah, I know. I like to call it being thick, because I'm with you there. It's like we're thick. We're not slow. We're just a little thick. Okay. So.
I already told you, my wife said she's married to a grown child. So, yeah. And I agree with her. Very good point.
I think I want to have a beer or wine or whatever with your wife. That's what I want.
Oh yeah, she's a riot.
Yeah. But you're so true when you're talking about being a victim, because if once you read the book, you're going to see page after page and pieces of your life, every piece of your life. There was definitely a reason, an external reason for you to be the victim. One after the other after the other. So I feel like you slowly, unconsciously built this, having that father and just keep going, right? It was slowly being built. It wasn't one day he said this and that was it. But it sometimes it takes a massive explosion to do that turning point in your life, Yeah. Like, it doesn't happen overnight, but the explosion happens, figuratively speaking. And then it propels you onto this different place in your life, this different mindset. And all of these things start to open. You have this wife that you love so much, that you guys have this great relationship. It's supportive. You have wonderful people around you. Your life is basically giving back and saving others and opening up the eyes to whoever reads that book.
Yeah. And somebody could easily fire back and say, you don't know what I'm going through, but I will quickly tell them, and this may sound really weird, but I honestly think me stepping on that IED saved my life. It really did, in a very weird way, because the reason why my book naturally gravitated towards not becoming a victim is because I really think I was one almost my entire life. Always blaming everybody. Yep. Never my fault.
Power. That is so powerful, Ryan. I cannot express enough how powerful this book is. And it, like I said, you don't even have to be in the military. Yeah, it gives you an eye-opening experience to what the reality is, but it is and it's funny and you cry. It's all over the place. I absolutely love it. A lot of times I just read books to get the knowledge or the understanding or whatever. but this gave it all in an enjoyable way because I'm not a reader, like at all. That's why I have it on Audible. I have it on Audible, but I'm not even an Audibler that much, you know? So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. And thank you for that chaplain that said to you, put it on paper. Write it.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely agree with you. Yeah, it's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
And I have to say, there's so many people making comments on here and I've ignored you all, and I apologize, but I'm so into what Ryan's saying. You have so much value to give. But do you know, I gotta say, Andrew Favre, he's like, you need to talk at one of the IW hikes. So I'm gonna connect you. It's a Reverend Warrior hike. They're like, they need to hear you. So after this, I'll message the you guys, and you can set that up whenever you're back stateside, whenever that is, whenever you have a moment in your, in your life schedule.
Yeah. That's I definitely that would be that would definitely be a good time. So
Yeah.
I would like.
Well, we will be doing that, but yes, Brian, you can Google to find the book, but I'm also going to put a link right in here when we hang up to edit, so you guys can just click on it, because I like nice and easy. You can click on the link and get it either Audible or paperback, whichever you prefer, or Kindle, as I've learned. It's on all of the platforms. So thank you for making life easy, Brian. But before I let you go, you're a very busy man over there. My last question is to you, and I ask that you answer it honestly. It doesn't matter if it sounds like stupid coming out of your mouth. That is the true answer. In this moment right now, Brian, what does love mean to you?
What does love mean to me?
Yes.
My wife.
Yes. You don't even have to go on anymore. I totally, from talking to you before, during, and now, that's it. Well said.
Yeah.
Well said. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for sharing who you are, your heart, your soul, not just with us here today, but through your book, Tip of the Spear. Everybody, I'll stick the link right in here so you can just get it with a snap of your fingers. And to everybody else that is watching out there, remember, love hard, love pure, and love proactive. And until next time, we will see you. Take care.
Bye, guys.